we are going to build a raised garden bed. So we've got our lumber, and I'll give you a checklist on what that is here in a second. We also got this steel over here. And so what we're going to do is we're going to actually use this steel, because if you don't know, when you're building a garden bed, you want to make sure that you're not using treated wood, because if you use treated wood, some of that chemicals could get into your soil and actually get into the vegetables that you're trying to grow. So all of that wood is untreated, and we're also using this steel here. Like I said, this is all untreated wood, so we've got 2x4x8s. We got a bunch of them, and then we also have 2x2x6 here, and then we've got 2x6x8 here. And that's basically all you need is those four things plus some type of metal. Now you can use corrugated metal, you can use just a sheet metal. We actually got this for free off my dad. He had a bunch of this laying around, and he used to use it for patching cars and stuff. So I've seen one dude who used tin sheeting for roofs, and so you can use anything that's kind of sturdy and metal. You can use. So let me show you our chickens real quick. We just got these chickens, and we've never had chickens before. We do not live in the country, so we're looking at building a fence. We're getting ready to put in a garden. That's why I'm doing these garden beds. This is all new to us. So we're basically city folk transforming into homestead. We also got this RV that has a carburetor that is getting rebuilt right now, so we can take this thing, so we can take it out. We don't know what we're doing, but we're trying it out. And so I hope you enjoy this. So I'm going to do all my cutting here in the garage, maybe a little bit outside because it's getting ready to start to rain. So I'm not going to do that with the chickens here. So the first thing I got to do is get these chickens out of here, and then I'll be right back with you. Alright, so I guess I should be wearing some type of protective gear here. I don't want to wear gloves because I'm afraid of my gloves getting caught in the actual saw itself and pulling me in. So right now I am going to cut 8 of these because we're doing 2 raised garden beds. And so if I was just doing 1, I would only need 4, but I'm doing 8 because we're building 2. And I'm using a pen. I know somebody might get upset with that, but hey, like I said, not a professional. So like I said, it's mostly 2x4s that we're using, but different size cuts. So we just got done doing our 4 feet for the ends, and these beds are going to be about 2 foot tall. The exact dimensions are going to be 25 and 5/8, and so that's what we're going to measure. And you should be able to get a few 25 and 5/8, and then the next size that we're doing is 18 and 5/8. And so if I do that on the end, I'll have limited waste of these boards, and so hopefully that works out just good. I actually got these plans off of YouTube. I believe the name was Goshen Farms, but I can link below. I got my 25 and 5/8 cut. I'm going to use it as my template because I'm going to need quite a bit of these, and so I actually need 6 of these per bed, so I'm going to cut 12 of these. Alright, so if you come in here real quick, you'll see that 18 and 5/8 is right there, and so this is the end of this 2x4, and so this is very, very, very close to having no waste at all. So that's great. That is great. The one thing that he did say is that something like this should only take about an hour to do. So I'm doing 2 beds. I'm expecting to do it within, 2 hours or so. Not a craftsman, so it might take longer than that, but So let's just cut off this little bit of waste, or a little bit of end product here. So this right here is the 18 5/8, and so that right there is actually putting the whole 2x4 basically, besides this little bit of scrap right here, to use. So now I'm gonna move over to the 2x2s. Now I already have this this little template here that I made, and so I'm gonna use that kind of as my template here to start off, because I need this to be exactly the 18 5/8 that 2x4 is going to be, and basically this right here is going to be used to hold the metal in place once we get that far. So let's go ahead and rip on this. All right, so that one didn't work out that great because of the size difference. So I made sure that this was exactly what I wanted, and so now I'm going to start using this for this. All right, so let me get these sawed out. Okay, so if you follow me over here and you look down here, we've got, and the thing that I like about this is that you cut it all out and then put it together. It just seems more like it flows a lot better. I like the workflow. And so this right here is the 4-footers, and then right here is going to be the 25 5/8, and then we got the 18, the 2x4s that are the 18 5/8, and then the 2x2s that are 18 5/8. And so I want to make sure, I want to put railings on this, which isn't in the tutorial video that I'm basically following to give this tutorial video. Because I don't want anybody cutting their hands on this, and so I want to add top railings around mine. But before I do that, I want to get the metal in. So I want to construct this bin together and have the bin, cut the metal, put it in, and then I will cut the tops to put them on, because I might actually miter those to kind of make them look nicer. And so that's the plan. So you've got your 25 5/8 that you cut. And then you're going to take your 18 5/8, and it goes right in the middle like this. Now I've got these other boards just to use for the 2x4 side. So if you put this here, butt this up against it, then take this and butt it up against it, it should fit right there. So I do not have a nail gun, I just have a drill. So I'm going to drill this in here, and then you'll see on some of these, this is going to go on just like this. And so let me get my drill now. I think I've got a pretty good template right now. Basically, I'm just lining everything up with it, making sure everything's kind of center with it. And then I'm pre-drilling everything. That way I don't got to keep changing out my drill. And so everything will be drilled. Then I'll come back and I'll put the screws and everything. Then I'll come and I'll add these to all of them except for 2. Well, except for 4 in this case, because I'm doing 2 different beds. But we'll get to this in just a second. So that's what I'm doing right now. Basically using this jig right here, this template, to just make sure everything is proportionate in size. I guess the moral of the story would be that if I can do this, anybody can do this. So I will link where I got this idea from down below. By the time you watch this video of me doing it and that video, you should be able to master it. That is, if I can get this to actually be pulled off. You're gonna have to wait till the end to see that. So. All right, so I've got a new camera person here. Say hi, Lauren.
Hi.
All right, so show them this, Lauren, over here. So you'll see that I've got the 2x2s now on top here, and then I am, that's basically what it's going to look like when it's all rigged together. And so Lauren, follow right over here. So we've got a bunch of them that are together on this side, and together we'll need 2 that aren't, that go kind of in the middle. But there's 4 because we're building 4 beds. Believe it or not, I'm going to go through over 50 screws when this is all said and done. So a lot. Would have been a lot easier with a nail gun. But it is what it is, and I have what I have. Want to get a close-up, Lauren? All right, Lauren, I need a screw. Get me one. Thank you very much. Okay, so after you got all of those put together, you've got your 2x2s on top. Basically, you flip them so they're like this, and then you've got the one that you didn't put anything on right in the middle here. So you put this in the middle, and you've got your 8-foot board. Basically, if you come in here, what you're kind of wanting to do is you kind of want to line it up with this 2x2 here. The reason why you want to do that is because if you look at this 4x4 right here, this is going to be the long ways on the end here, and so basically this will go right here. So if you can kind of start imagining this now, you've got a 4-foot by 8-foot bed, and this is the ends. Real quick, I want to show you, if you've got one of these speed squares here, you can kind of line it up, make sure you've got a pretty good squared off board here before you start making your drill holes. Or, you know, if you're using a nail gun, you want to make sure that you're square when you're doing a project like this. So then once you have this down, you're going to just literally do this other side basically identical. And so I did measure this board 1.75, marked it off, measured 4 feet and marked it off here so that this was exactly in the middle here. So now screw. Thank you. All right, so you're going to repeat this process for the other side of the bed, and then that's kind of self-explanatory. So after that, I'll show you what you do next. So now you'll see you've got these 2 notches right on the end when you stand these both up. So you're going to take that 4-foot board. We're going to do this on the bottom and the top, but just to give you an idea, it kind of sits right in there on both sides, just like that. And then on the bottom, it's going to have the same exact thing, and that will be the frame, and the metal, you'll see, will actually go up against the insides. So basically, you can see it coming together now. I just got to flip it. So I'm going to have my wife help me flip it here. We'll flip it over, and then we'll put the 2 boards on it, and then it will be totally framed, ready for me to put the metal in. And then after I put the metal in, then I'm going to put the railings around the top. And so then we'll have a finished product at that point. We were going to flip it, but I was afraid of breaking it since it's not fully together yet. And so I'm going to lay down here and I'm going to put this bad boy on here. Alright, so we did flip it after laying on the ground and trying to do that. I'm not a fan of having to lay on this concrete too much. So we flipped it. I'm getting ready to put in the last board for the frame. I am going to wait until tomorrow to do the metal, and I'll do the metal and then I'll do the top railings on it so that it's finished. For you, it's only going to seem like a second, but I will see you tomorrow in just a second. Oh, and I'll just add, it's been well over 2 hours. So just keeping my time, just keep it in check with my time here, and it's a little bit longer. before we actually go to tomorrow, I do want to also point out that I'm using Phillips head, and I always have the problem, and you can see my bit already getting worn out, of it skipping. But I had to move on to Phillips head because that 50 pack ran out, which was an accident of mine getting Star. And I'm a Star guy. That was so much easier to use those Star screws. And for now on, when I'm going to order another box so that I have some screws tomorrow to start on the frame with the other one, I'm not going with the Phillips head. It was so much easier the other way. I've taken my metal sheet and I've laid it out here. So the metal sheets that I got for free here, they're not the exact dimensions that I want, unfortunately. And so I'm gonna have to do some cutting. So we had a chalk line, we did some measurements right down the middle of this sheet. And so I'm gonna take this and I'm going to cut it. And hopefully after that, this will actually give me two sides. And so I'll put one on one side, one on the other. I'll do another roll to get my ends. And then after that, we'll put the final touch on it and we'll take it out and you'll see the finished product of at least one of them. So. Okay, so all these metal pieces are now cut, and what a pain this was. This was a pain. My dad actually came and helped me cut this stuff. He pretty much did the cutting, really. Yeah, so they're all cut to size. Now I got to drill the holes and start doing all the other stuff. So like I was saying, I am no craftsman whatsoever, but after doing some experimenting, this seems to be the best tool for the job to get through this metal. And so basically what I'm doing is I am pre-drilling my holes here to make it a little bit easier when I actually put it up against the wood. And so my 2x4s are kind of just making it so that it's a little bit more sturdy. Are you ready to help us work on some things?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Oh, he's gonna dump me! He's gonna dump me! I know him. He's dumping it! He's dumping it! I can't say what's around! We got way too much dirt.
That's just right now.
Well, it wasn't all the dirt, but it's okay. Oh, it's all the dirt. We're gonna get all the dirt.
Brooke is actually kind of staining these in a way. So like I said before, this is untreated wood, but through this process, we figured out that you can get this stuff called pure raw linseed oil. And it kind of acts like a stain, something you can treat your wood with to make it so that your untreated wood doesn't rot as fast. However, if this stuff gets into your soil, it's not going to be harmful to you. So yeah, so that is pretty cool. So you can kind of tell that the stain darkened this one just a little bit, but not too much. We've been shifting everything around in the garage, so please don't mind the mess, but I got this in a wide angle here so you can kind of see the bed. And that is not the finished product, but that's what it's going to look like when we fill it with dirt tomorrow. That one's almost halfway filled. This one's not halfway filled.
Taylor, you're our helper today?
Yeah.
What are you doing? No, you don't put it back in there. Here, look. You just want to move it around. Try to help us level it off. See? I love that I do not have to bend over as much to plant these. This was so much easier than getting on my knees and doing it.
Here is the final product here. Well, not necessarily. I still want to put railings around the top. but got all the dirt in and stuff planted. So there they are.
Dad, I caught a bug.